Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh again from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Danny Hadas of the Emovation Project. Danny, it's awesome to have you on the show.
It's awesome to be on the show, Gresh. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And before we jumped in, I wanted to read a little bit more about Danny so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Danny is a #1 best-selling author, entrepreneur, and advisor to the world's most iconic brands. His work has impacted millions of people across 500 plus companies worldwide, including Disney, BMW, and AT&T. As the founder of the Emovation Project, Danny teaches business leaders how to power their profits by empowering their people. When Danny's not sharing Emovation, he's with his incredible girlfriend. Together, they participate in and lead growth and development programs aimed to cause tremendous breakthroughs in people's lives. Their partnership serves to redefine what's possible in the world. Danny, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I am ready. You saw I had to turn my head when you were saying my bios. It's always so embarrassing to hear, but I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's speak.
There you go. Let's make it happen. Yes, you're doing so many phenomenal things. It's like deja vu, right? So I wanted to rewind the clock a little bit, hear a little bit more on like what actually started. Could you take us through your CEO story? We'll let you get started with all the awesome things you're working on.
Absolutely. Well, I've been a CEO since really January 1st, 2019. Okay. So that's where we are in my history. I got into big time consulting ever since I graduated Penn State in 2008. I got my start with Accenture, working with some of the, again, biggest brands in the world, Disney and AstraZeneca and Mattel. And I just went along on my consulting journey and I eventually became really enamored with customer experience transformation. Mm-hmm. Helping businesses create inspiring experiences so they can win loyal customers and just be profitable. And my last stint at a consulting firm, I got to lead a $15 million customer experience transformation program. And there we are with this prestigious automotive manufacturer based out of Germany. We're co-creating these inspiring experiences in a beautiful facility. And someone turns around and said, yeah, I'm not going to do this. And I said, huh? And he said, yeah, I'm not doing this. I said, well, what's that about? He said, well, you see, I don't get treated half as well as what you're asking me to put out there to the customers. So I'm not going to do this. And I suspect a lot of my peers aren't going to do it either. And a light bulb went off, Gresh. And I realized, here we are getting paid by this manufacturer to do this incredible transformation for their customer experience. But the people who are there to deliver that experience aren't getting taken care of. So they're not going to want to bring that performance so that transformation will be available. And at that point, I was like, okay, something has to be done about this. Something's got to be done for the people that power a company's performance, a people that power a company's profit. And that's how the Emovation Project was born. And Emovation is innovation powered by emotions. What I saw in that moment is if your people don't feel like performing, they won't. If they don't feel valued, acknowledged, appreciated, loved, cared for, empowered, inspired, connected, they won't perform. So what does it take to have people feel that way? And that's what Emovation stands for, innovating, powered by emotions. And there's my CEO story.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And it's so funny. It kind of reminded me of this quote that I had, I want to say a year ago. Every year I had this theme where I say the first thing you want to do is make sure you have your oxygen mask on first. And I think so many times, especially as leaders, as people that are really, providing, are seeking to provide phenomenal experiences, you want to make sure that first of all that you're taken care of so that you're able to kind of serve to the best of anybody's ability. So that's why I love everything you stand for and everything you've been able to build.
Oh, thank you. And I agree with you there. And I think so often we forget that we got to take care of our people. That's the oxygen mask. We miss that. So we take care of ourselves and then everyone in the company's out to take care of themselves. Right. And then nobody's taking care of anybody else.
Right.
It's exactly. when it's an inward focus, we don't thrive. But anyway, that's what I have to say about that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper. Could you take us through that process of exactly how you work with your clients and you serve them? Can you tell us a lot more about the Emovation Project?
Yeah. So when I first got started, it was really kind of a traditional management consulting company. And I was getting hired by big brands to build training and development programs for their people. So really enhancing the leadership capability of a company's employees. And that was me spending, a month or 3 months designing a program, then going on site and delivering training programs twice a day for months on end. But we don't do that anymore, especially with what's been going on in the world. So really the dream and what's being created, and what's in process, what exists right now is an online, completely digitally native consulting business. All the effectiveness of any other consulting firm at a fraction of the cost of ever having to meet in person if you don't want to. So at the top level, it's one-on-one coaching with the company's executives, their directors, managers, what have you. Below that top level product is a first of its kind online consulting program, where in 6 weeks I take people from where they are today, and 6 weeks later they are a different version of themselves as leaders, as managers, as directors, as people who lead other people using Emovation. And so those are really the two ways that I interact with businesses right now. And the result always is the leadership capability at that company has been increased. And as a result, the company's performance increases. And as a result of that, their profits increase. Again, the main thing that we do is we acknowledge that people power a company's performance. Performance is the only thing that leads to profit. So we focus on the people. People power profit, and so we focus on the people so that companies can get their profits. And that's how we address the business need of leadership and performance and profit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's an incredibly huge thing. I say so often, on the show. I think, when we look at business, you want to know the numbers, the analytics, the data, and all that stuff. But so many times we gloss over what is probably the most important part of every business, which is the people, the human aspect. And I think when we start to redirect our focus and our energies to empowering the people and to making them better in terms of so many different aspects, then we start to see that growth and opportunity. It kind of sounds like that's exactly what you're saying as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, Gresh, you probably heard the phrase people, process, technology. That's as old as I've ever known about business, except for the last decade, I don't see anyone focus on people. It's all about process and technology.
Right.
So I'm really bringing the focus back on people, and so many leaders don't know how to care for their people, and Emovation is a 4-step methodology to do exactly that. How to properly care for their people. One of my favorite questions to ask is, how much should your employee engagement strategy be? How much money should it cost? And people have all sorts of answers. My answer is $0. $0. And that's what Emovation allows for, a $0 employee engagement, employee experience strategy. And that I think is worth looking into.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge thing. And let me ask you this. Do you find that, I guess when you talk with the clients that you work with, do you find that it's maybe harder to kind of get a handle on what exactly that growth is or how exactly to do that, which is why you were able to kind of create that 4-step methodology so that people are able to get more of a handle on how to, I guess, empower the people that empower the products and services they provide?
Yeah, so you nailed it. Exactly. So today, a lot of people, they'll survey their employees, they'll ask them questions, and then they won't take actions on the survey results. So people know how to ask the questions. What they don't know how to do is either ask the right questions or take appropriate action on those questions. And so my methodology really unlocks where the experience is lacking today, how people are feeling and why today, so that you can build a new foundation based on how you want your people to feel, and then generate the ideas that'll have them feel that way and take actions consistent with that. Again, when you know that your mission as a manager or leader is to have your people feel, let's say, inspired, empowered, and supported, when all of your actions exist inside of that context, and then your people are feeling that way, their performance goes to the roof. And so what I do is provide people a pathway to A, determine how people are feeling today, B, figure out how they want them to actually feel when they show up every single day, and then C, take action on that foundation. That's what I do. And yes, what I find is that people just don't know how to lead. The common answers today, Gresh, like ping pong tables, unlimited PTO, different kinds of perks. Those aren't the things that actually inspire performance. Those are things that sweeten the deal, but they're not the core of what drives someone to perform. And I focus on the core of what drives people to perform. It's a people methodology driven to drive people performance.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have that foundational focus and you are aligned with that, and then the actions show that you're aligned with that. Of course, as you said, the pizza and the ping pongs and the beer taps are all good and nice to have, but they're more or less icing on the cake if you don't have that foundation. So
that's right.
I appreciate you for focusing on that. So would you say that is what I call your secret sauce? Is that the thing that kind of sets you apart, is that ability to kind of bring those things together to provide those kind of actionable steps for people to be successful?
I'd say the secret sauce is emotions, and that's in the name of the company, the Emovation Project, Emovation, innovation powered by emotions. Most leaders don't realize that the key to unlocking their employees' performance is how their employees feel. And as humans, we're feeling every second of every day. Some people think we turn it off at work. Oh, I've heard it so many times, Gresh. Why are we talking about feelings? We're at work. It's like, okay, you're human, man. Or woman,
Still
you're
at
human.
work.
You are human. You're feeling every second of every day. Every time you fire off an email, give someone a look, wave hello, send an I am, whatever it is, send a message on Slack. You're leaving someone with an emotion. The opportunity that we miss all the time is to intentionally craft our behavior to lead the emotions that we intend. And when we can do that, and when we can actually craft those emotions in a positive manner, again, like inspired, connected, empowered, valued, appreciated, supported, recognized, our people's performance begins to lift and the company's performance begins to thrive. But so often we just live life through happenstance. We let things just happen. We don't think about how our behavior will leave others. And we just go about our day like it's just the way it was. So I'd say that the USP there, Gresh, is really focusing on people's emotions and giving you a very simple, straightforward methodology to get there. The other thing I'd say is I come from a Big Four consulting background. Very rarely do you get access to someone with my kind of experience in this format where I'm giving straight from all my experiences over 10 years working with the biggest brands in the world. You get it straight from me. And you don't need some crazy program. It's not going to be some wild ride. It's going to be very straightforward. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, results. Really simple. That's the USP.
Nice. I absolutely love that. And like you can't really kind of replicate that experience. So I'm glad that you touched on that. But you're absolutely right about, again, that emotions piece where so many times we gloss over the humanistic part, the aspect part, we even sometimes lock the emotions that we have within us and we try to shut them off and they don't exist, so on and so forth. But in reality, as you said, I think when we, first of all, acknowledge that and then second, start taking those steps towards, seeing that vision and goal and the hearts and minds of the people that you work with and the people that you have around you, that's when you start to go to an entirely different level.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
I'm going to give 2. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right. So the first thing, this happened very early in my career, was the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Mm-hmm. I got a whole story behind that, but really the bottom line is read that book. If you haven't read the book, for anyone listening, you got to read that book. That's one. Second is the Landmark Forum, 100%. I don't know if you heard of those, Gresh, but
I have heard of them. They're like kind of like programs that you can go through, right?
Well, the Landmark Forum is a particular program offered by Landmark Worldwide, and that program was absolutely a game changer for me. Transformational. Couldn't imagine life without it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have heard a little bit about that. I don't know a lot. I've just heard some people that have gone through it. And it's funny that what you said is kind of like verbatim what I hear a lot of about how transformational it is and how impactful it is, the whole process. And I think it's, from what I heard, it's kind of, I guess, an intensive period, but at the same time, it provides those transformational, I guess, results.
3 days. 3 days can undo 30 years of a way of working or a way of being that you didn't see another way through. It was unbelievable. I couldn't, that's not even describable, really. It was just an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate those hacks. So I wanted to ask you now for what I call a CEO nugget. So that could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be something you would tell a client, or if you were to hop into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Well, I think what I'd really say for all the listeners out there, especially if you're leading people, anytime your team's not performing at the level that you'd want, you got to look to see how they feel. How are they feeling about the workplace? How are they feeling about you? How are they feeling about their colleagues? How are they feeling about their home life? How do they feel? Find that out. That is the key to driving performance. And once you know how they feel, you can start looking at how you want them to feel. And then all of your actions can live inside of that foundation. How do you want your people to feel? And when you actually achieve those emotions, that's when your performance will go through the roof. Always be in tune with how your people are feeling and why, and always be moving towards how you want them to feel. And if you don't know how they feel, there's only one thing to do, and that's ask. You've got to ask. You've got to have that conversation with your people. There is a place for emotions everywhere in life, especially at work. So the nugget is, if you don't already know how people are feeling, because if you're guessing, you don't know. If you don't know, ask. Ask today. Please do that right away. That's the nugget. Ask and find out how your people are feeling about their work and their life today.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And let me ask you a little bit follow up on that is, do you find that, or do you hear that, I think so many times people don't seem to care what people are thinking, especially in the workplace, that sometimes you can't just ask, how do you feel? Sometimes it's an actual dialogue and a back and forth, right? That that helps you to kind of peel back the layers so you get to what a person feels. So it's not necessarily just one question. Well, I did send out an email asking how everybody's doing and nobody replied back, so they don't have or care about their feelings. It's really a lot more to that, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Gresh, it starts with really just having an authentic conversation. For someone who hasn't done, so here would be the first step, right? For someone who hasn't taken the action or doesn't know how their people feel, you'd schedule a one-on-one for 30 minutes and you just set the intention. Hey, we've been working together for X amount of time. I don't actually know how you feel about your role here, how you feel about working here, how you feel about working with me. I know it's not necessarily a comfortable question or conversation to have, but I actually really like to know. What I want you to know is you can say anything. I'm open to your feedback. My intention is that we get to create an environment where you're thriving. And so I'm sorry I haven't had this conversation with you ever before, but this is who I am now, and this is what I want to do. That kind of conversation really gets people to see that they're in a new world all of a sudden. And it's a stark contrast from anything they've been doing if they've kind of just been going along every day like clockwork. So it's really that simple. And again, it's not necessarily comfortable, but it does open the space up for something completely different than was ever there before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredibly powerful. And I think in the sense that you said, you acknowledge what was said, what was happening in the past or how it was done in the past. And you acknowledge that you're trying to make that transition. And, you create that space, as you said, so well, so that you can have that dialogue. You can express those feelings. You can start to see the feelings and the emotion that you want to see within the people you have around you. So definitely appreciate that nugget. And so now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Danny, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Well, to me, being a CEO is, in my company, we call it the Chief Emovation Officer. So my responsibility is to ensure that the emotions experienced when working with me, when dealing with me, when interacting with me are exactly as I intend. And the three emotions I want everyone to feel when they work with me are inspired, connected, and empowered. Mm-hmm. Inspired by what we're up to, connected to me and the other people we're working with, and empowered to get their job done the best way they know how with all the tools, resources, and support they would need. And so that's what it means to be a CEO, is to create that environment where people are always feeling inspired, connected, empowered. And when they're not, I'm the first person they feel comfortable telling so that I can do something about it. That to me is what leadership is. It's making sure people are feeling the way they need to feel to perform at their best so that they're lit up.
Absolutely. That makes so much sense. And I love that Chief Innovation Officer. And I think that as you said, and you said earlier about the intentionality and the things that we do. And I think when you are intentional, you are aware of those three things or whatever those three things might be for each of us, then you can start to, again, take the steps to get you from A to B or A to Z or however you look at it. So truly appreciate that definition, Danny. Appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you're doing.
I really appreciate that opportunity, Gresh. And I'd say that really, if you take anything away, it's to really start getting in tune with how your people are feeling in the workplace. You'd be surprised what they share with you, and you open up the conversation authentically and transparently. And if you don't know how to get that started, then the best way to do that is to go to emovationproject.com/brilliant, where you can download a free resource called the Situation Launch Guide. And it launches you into getting the situation in your workplace. It's the first step of the methodology. What's the situation? It walks you through all the different ways in which you can do that. And we give you the exact survey we created for one of our clients that for them, they achieved 100% response rate and spun off 92 new employee experience innovation initiatives. You can have the same list of questions, and it'll really give you insight into how the people in your workplace are feeling. That's what I'd say to do. Emovationproject.com/brilliant.
Awesome. We will have the links and information in the show notes. So I definitely appreciate you for leading in charge and helping all those people put their oxygen mask on so that they can serve to the best ability that they have and best ability that they can show. So truly appreciate you, Danny, my friend, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
You too.